Rightio. I just thought, I guess AMP's been involved with Cyro on their irrigated wheat project, and we've, I guess, been responsible for the Spring Ridge component of that for the last 3 years. And I guess, look, there's still a lot of stuff, and they're still analysing a lot of the data that's coming out of that, and but I thought, I guess, maybe just pick a few points out of it while it's still fresh and the data's still recent. We'll get, I guess, more data will come available as it's analysed. But this is just specific, I guess, for Spring Ridge, and this was all done at Angus's under the centre pivot. I guess I've pulled out the best varieties just to make a point. So we've got Lancer, Cobra, Trojan, all bred wheats. Cobra and Trojan in the last 3 years have been, in terms of yield potential, have been the standouts amongst the bred wheats across the different sowing dates. And then you've got Bellaroy and Aurora, and I've just included those two durums. Aurora wasn't in 2014, but it was in there in 15 and 16. So I've just included those, and I guess the point is that these are our best yielding bred wheats, the two in the green and the red. And essentially the durums aren't that far behind them. So if you combine comparable yields and a price premium, it's essentially, under that irrigated situation, I think, and it's not that this is new, but it just confirms that there's been none of these new bred wheats coming through that have got this distinctly huge yield advantage over the durums. They're all sitting there, as I said, these two are the best. They're all just sitting there very comparable to the durums. So I guess it was just emphasising that point that it's been made in previous reviews, that, you know, if it's under that irrigation system, I guess durum gives you the greatest opportunity of highest net return type thing in these situations. So and out of that group, out of the entire group that's been trialled, I guess Lancer and Suntop are the only two APH ones that have, or I guess best performing APH ones, APH wheats. And so you can sort of see Lancer in a couple of situations significantly behind the Cobra and Trojan. So I guess it's just a you know, coming out of that sort of where you got theoretically some of the better yielding genetics in that trial, and there's still, I guess, nothing drastically in front of, well, mainly Bellaroy. The other one, which is row spacing. So in the blue bars, you've got 7.5 inch versus 11 inch versus 15 inch in the green. Now, I'm not suggesting we all go back to 7.5 inch, but if we have a look, this is just in Bellaroy in 2016, 15, Caproy in 14, and Bellaroy in 14 as well, across those varieties. But the 7.5 inch is significantly greater in all years compared to the 11 and 15 inch. So I guess on that narrow row spacing in that irrigated situation, there's still opportunity, I guess, for gaining that little bit extra yield. Now we're not talking tons and tons, but it's been, I guess, one of the most consistent ones through that row spacing trial. So you still are picking up that extra yield from the narrow row spacing. Extra yield, but what are the logistics of actually achieving that narrow row spacing? How do you actually do it? Are you going to change the machine, or are you going to, do something? So the other one is PGR versus no PGR, and in this case it was motorcycle cell again. But if we look through time, so personally I've been involved in the project since 2012, and this is back in DPI days, so running these sites at Breezer. That one's around the wrong way, but anyway, so we come through time, I guess, in each one of those, so in 14, 15, 16, and in 2012, we got a significant yield response with the application of motorcycle cell, and this is all in Bellaroy except for that one, which is Caproy. Significant yield response from the application of a PGR at GS31. So just pick GS31. It's been applied as I guess canopy control measure or lodging control measure, and this is, for me, this has been one of the most consistent things, I guess, coming through some of the agronomy treatments have been put across it. So, and it's a little bit, I guess it led to this year. And so in 2016, we're like, rightio, well, let's explore this a bit more. And so in 2016, we put 5 durum varieties in, and then we had a range of different treatments. So we had control where we did nothing whatsoever. We had motorcyclocell applied at GS25. Same mix applied at GS31. Also at GS31, we just put 400 mils of Motus on. Then we had motorcyclocell applied later, so at GS37. And then we had another, this one here is where we actually put 2 full hits on. So we put one on at GS25 and then another one on at GS30, it was around GS31. So we've got these 2 hits on here, and then this one just in the Belleroy, we've gone later again, so we're at the GS41. So all, I guess, one, trying to explore this yield thing that we've been seeing in those previous trials, and 2 was exploring what's the impact of the lodging. So something like this, 2 hits of motorcyclocell is essentially like a premium lodging, I guess, insurance policy type thing. You're putting 2 hits on. So, and if we look through this, we get incredibly consistent results regardless of the variety. So there was a variety, like we were getting the same response out of all 5 varieties type thing. Yield levels changed a bit, but very similar results. So essentially the GS25 application of the motorcyclocell was significantly better in all the varieties, whereas 31 was about the same, and then as we shifted later, we're actually significantly worse off than applying it at GS31. So, and probably the other striking one is this where we've actually put 2 hits on. So we've put the hit on at 25 and then the hit again at GS31. Actually, so it's increased yield to about the same level as the GS25. So it seems like that GS25 one is I guess the important application, which is probably a bit earlier than in the right. Yeah. And the other, I guess the other point of this is the AGT D043. So in terms of from a lodging point of view, so where we did nothing at all, we had a lodging score of 7, so like 70% laying over, and then we had the 20 or the mid tillering, first node, flag leaf starting to come out, flag leaf. Oh, it's not in here. And then we had the 2 hits. But essentially you can sort of see we've had a significant reduction in lodging with any of those applications. And Motus by itself, I guess, still had an effect compared to the control, but least effective of those treatments. So it did significantly reduce lodging in a very susceptible variety. Rightio, wrap up of today. Is it more hard to say? Essentially, you come out of, I guess you come out of 16 and you're probably wishing for another 2016 and not too distant future, I guess, particularly some of those net returns in chickpeas and those wheat yields were phenomenal. I guess since that September or that October in 2016, we haven't stored a lot of water. We haven't tipped any or much in the bucket since then. Long fallow situations under sorghum stubble are probably some of the better long fallows that we've had in a long time, but then that long fallow area, I would say, is down a lot on past areas because of that increased double crop chickpea area. And then short fallows, I guess there's some scary numbers there that potentially 20% less, or less than 20% plant available water there so far. Soil nitrogen levels, I guess we had those 22 paddocks in the survey that I guess show extreme removal of N through 2016 with those large crops, but I guess it does prompt the thing to make sure you get soil tested and know where that starting point is coming in. 2016 had an immensely wide flowering window compared to 2 dry springs before that where we were, out to 3.5, 4 weeks wide, we could flower in there and still achieve maximum yield. Whereas in the 2 years before that, that period was much narrower. So we're talking about a 10 to 12 day window type thing. So Lancer was very stable returns in the trials and so very stable in commercial results. Spitfire, I guess, last year showed that benefit of that high protein achievement and that year where you've got a big price premium between it and the lower grades, APH1. Roslyn and Spartacus performed well again from a barley point of view and did perform well in the 2015 trials, and a bit of that's gone in commercially. PK and Silicon, I guess, have all provided significant paybacks in the year of application in those saline and sodic soil trials. So we've actually got a majority of that benefit, or that majority of the benefit or the income or return payback from those in that first year. Whereas, we look at things like manure, we're getting large paybacks, I guess, in each year, but it's taking longer to pay them off. And those returns, I guess, within 3 years, or within 2 years at Ben's site, the manures are actually paid off, and within 3 years at Carter's site, they're actually paid themselves off in the trial site. So interesting. And we can see, I guess, from the long-term manure side at Pinecliff, how quickly some of those things can be paid back if you get increased yield in a high value crop. All of a sudden the income is much higher. So SEMA definitely offering better disease package than Hattrick, but no real yield advantage in a disease or low disease here, I don't think. And foliar K in both chickpeas and faux bones has been incredibly consistent through those trials, and I guess hopefully maybe you see the worth in putting some strip trials in those. And durum in that irrigated wheat, ideally durum, narrow row spacing with a PGR in irrigated wheat's the ideal mix based on the last couple of years of data, but I guess looking at a bit more of that PGR stuff. So, thank you.